to do a quick review here of our operations with polynomials. Now, keep in mind, if you're struggling with your monomial operations and just our basic exponents, go back to last week and rewatch some of those videos with our basic properties of exponents. We're going to be focusing here on our actual operations with polynomials. Okay, so we can add and subtract with polynomials. Okay, and that can sort of look two different ways. We can have a stacked option. And again, these could be trinomials. They could have 100 terms, but we'd have them all nice and stacked and looking neat. Okay, and if they're nice and stacked, then our objective is that we want to go straight down. Now, remember, our objective is always addition. Addition functions way more friendly. So we have an addition sign, so we're good to go. So a 4x squared plus a 3x squared gives us a 7. And when we add, our exponents stay the same. A 7x plus a negative 5x gives us a positive 2x. And a negative 5 and a negative 2 give us a negative 7. Okay, so that's our answer on that one. Now, if they aren't stacked, so maybe we have this. Okay, we're still just going to match up the like terms. Now, again, we don't want to deal with subtraction. So anytime that we do see subtraction as our operation in between the two polynomials, we want to change that subtraction to addition and then change the sign of everything that follows it. So this 4x squared was positive, so it's going to become negative. And this negative 7x is going to become positive, right? Adding the opposite is the same thing as distributing a negative 1 to each of them. Then we can go through and we can combine like terms. So a 5x squared and a negative 4x squared will give us a 1x squared. And a 3x and a 7x will give us a positive 10x. And that's our answer there. Okay, we can multiply, with polynomials. Okay, so maybe if we just have something simple, like distributing. Okay, so we can distribute. 4 times 5 is 20. And again, when we multiply, we add. Okay, so a 2 and a 3 gives us a 5. 4 times 3 gives us 12. Now, these don't have the same bases, so we can't add those exponents together. So they both just get brought along. Now, that multiplication can get a little bit more complicated when we have more than just a monomial in front. So maybe we have a binomial in front. Okay, so if we have a binomial in front, we still want to use the same idea we used up here of distributing. It's just that we're going to distribute each one individually. Okay, so what you actually want to do is ignore the fact that there's two. Ignore whatever you sort of need to do. Okay, pretend that this other one isn't here and that you just see this 2x. And if you just see this 2x, then we can distribute just like we were doing above. So we can do 2x times 3x, which will give us a 6x squared because we add exponents and a 1 give us a 2. We can do 2x times negative 7, which will give us a negative 14x. Okay, so we've taken care of distributing the 2x, and then you're just going to sort of move your sheet of paper and now switch. So we were distributing the 2x, so now let's distribute the 3x, or the 3. So 3 times 3x is 9x, and we could write that 9x just right next to this. But 9x is a like term with 14x, so I'm going to put it underneath here. It's going to help me in a minute. And then 3 times negative 7 is a negative 21. Okay, the reason why I wrote these stacked is because now it's going to look like our addition and subtraction up here when they were when we were adding and subtracting and stacked. And so now we can add to combine our like terms. So we'll have a 6x squared, a negative 14 plus 9, which will give us a negative 5x, and a negative 21. And that will be our final answer. Okay, there is one more operation that we can do with polynomials, and that is division. Okay, division can be any of the signs that we know with division. So we have division sign, we have a division sign, or we can write it as a fraction. So if we have something like 18x to the 5th plus 24x to the 4th minus 12x squared, and we're going to divide this by 6x squared. Okay, when we are dividing, all we are really wanting to do is to take this denominator and match it up, oops, that's a 2, match it up with each individual term. So the 6x squared goes here, here, and here. And then again, we will just look at this as individual pieces. So I'm just going to focus sort of on this first term right here. So 18 divided by 6 is 3. And when we divide, we subtract exponents. So 5 minus 2 is 3. Okay, and I'm going to sort of cover up these other two and just focus in the middle. So 24 divided by 6 is a positive 4. And I subtract the exponents, so 4 minus 2 is 2. Okay, and then I'll just focus on this last one. Negative 12 divided by 6 is negative 2. 2 minus 2 is 0, and anything to the 0 power is 1, so I don't need to write down 2 times 1, so I am done.